Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shrapitam Jena Bhutale Shayam Rupakadamayam Darati Shapadantikam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Shamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sandivari Paschatya Dasatari. So we're going to continue the topic of Krishna giving intelligence and Krishna giving ability, or Krishna giving whatever we lack, because we had made the point before that often we rely too much on our own ability, our own intelligence, and we may feel we don't have a lot of it. And then if we rely too much on our own ability and we feel we don't have much of it, then we will not be so fearless or determined or confident that we can achieve something higher, or even achieve Krishna consciousness, or do more service. So that's the topic of this discussion, and we're going to continue reading. And unfortunately, I don't remember where we left off last time, so we may end up reading what we read last time, but that's okay, because we either can repeat what we've read or we will discuss again from a different perspective. And all these quotes that I'm reading from are very similar, and so it just helps us make the point more clearly. So this is from a lecture. This is March 16th, 1967. So, we're talking about, like 7 months after Prabhupada came to America. This is very early on. And very early on, he's telling these new people basically the same thing that he told us in 1977. So it's interesting because he gave Krishna consciousness pretty deeply right in the beginning. So let's hear. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yayata mam prapadyante tangs tadaiva bhajam yaham. That's 4:11. Quote, anyone who worships me in a particular way, I give him chance to be successful in that particular way. So when Prabhupada says, whoever worships me in a particular way, he also means whoever doesn't worship me in a particular way, I also give them intelligence, or give them inspiration. So anyone who worships me in a particular way, I give him a chance to be successful in that particular way. Worship me, and listen to what Prabhupada says next. If you want to be a first-class atheist, Krishna will give you a chance to become a first-class atheist. He will give you intelligence. He will give you ways and means how you can become a first-class atheist. So right before that, Prabhupada's quoting that verse, anyone who worships me in a particular way, I give him a chance to be successful. And now the next line, Prabhupada's explaining that worship me, it can also mean worship my material energy and be an atheist. So in other words, if you decide to worship atheism, that's a form of worshiping me unknowingly, worshiping my material energy. I will give you intelligence for that. I will help you with that. And that's the point that's being made. Yeyatamam prapadyante tamstadaiva bhajamyaham. Krishna says, as you approach me, well, in this verse, prapadyante means surrender. So as you surrender, then I reward accordingly. But what it also means is as you don't surrender, I also reward accordingly. In other words, as you surrender can mean as you surrender to something other than me, well, my material energy. Surrender to me meaning in bhakti or surrendering to my maya in some way, then I will reciprocate. I will give you intelligence. He will give you the ways and means how you can become a first-class atheist. Interesting. And if you want to become a first-class devotee, Krishna will give you intelligence how you can become a first-class devotee. Therefore, he says, Yeyata mam prapadyante. If you think that Krishna here, Prabhupada's referring to the deity, if you think that Krishna here is a statue of Krishna, he is an idol, and these foolish people are chanting Hare Krishna with an idol. So Krishna, in other words, if you think here's an idol, and these people are foolish because they're worshipping an idol, then Krishna will remain to such a person an idol forever. And one who knows, quote, oh, these people are chanting Hare Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For him, Krishna will reveal, yes, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the difference. So here Prabhupada's nicely explaining how atheism works. Of course, atheism cannot work unless there's a God not to believe in. Sometimes when someone was an atheist, Prabhupada would say, so what is your definition of that God you don't believe in? So he would try to get them to acknowledge what they don't believe in, the existence of a God they don't believe in. Anyway, this is, I don't know if other religions teach this, but this is a very significant point, because definition of God is, Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, I am the source of everything. So if Krishna is the source of everything, he has to be the source of atheism. He has to be the source of darkness. He has to be the source of ignorance. Excuse me. So if Krishna is the source of atheism, then he must give the intelligence to atheists to believe, to logically understand that God does not exist. And then you would question, why would Krishna do that? Well, he would do that because that's what they want. And that's the whole point of this verse, Yeyata mam prapadyante. Krishna's not just saying, as you surrender unto me personally in bhakti, I give you intelligence. That is more clearly stated, 10:10, dadami buddhi yogam tam. But in other verses, Sarvasya chaham rindisani vishto matasmitir jnanam apohanam cha, Krishna is saying, yes, I'll give you intelligence to come to me, but Krishna is saying, I'll also take it away if that's what you want. And sometimes we say, well, why is Maya so strong? And then, as I've often said, it's because that's what we want. And if we want to see the material energy as beautiful, Krishna will paint it. It'll be very beautiful. You'll think, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so attractive. It's so amazing. Krishna Karshani sent me this song. It's a famous song, which could easily have been sung by Krishna. And the words are, I can't make you love me if you don't. You can't make your heart feel something it won't. So Krishna's saying that. And this song, I think this song has been sung by more people than any other song. It's a very popular song. And so she sent me this one young girl singing it, who's got an incredible voice. And you can, if you ever hear anyone with an incredible voice, you could just imagine Krishna's voice. Wow. How would Krishna sound? But if we're not interested in Krishna consciousness, then Krishna will make the material energy seem like completely fascinating and wonderful, and Krishna will make it so that we couldn't imagine anything more attractive than Maya. And Krishna will make Maya very attractive. Then you might say, well, I'm trying to be a devotee, so why would Krishna make Maya attractive to me? And there's only one answer, because yiyatam mam prapadyante, because that's what you want. If you want to enjoy something, how could you try to enjoy something if it's not attractive? So if you want to enjoy Maya, material energy, Krishna has to make that look attractive, right? Otherwise, something which is not appealing, then you're not going to eat it, right? So you want to eat something, so let's make it appealing, let's make it tasty. So Krishna makes material energy appealing and tasty. Now, you may have heard Prabhupada's prayer. It's called Vrindavan Bhajan. This is after Prabhupada retired. And then he was expressing his realizations in Vrindavan. And one interesting realization he had, which relates to what we're saying, is Prabhupada said, I can now see the naked form of material nature, or Krishna is revealing to me the naked form of material nature. And Prabhupada was appreciating that. Then now that I've renounced everything, I have objectivity about the world, and I can see that which seems to be attractive in its naked form. It's not dressed up, there's no makeup, there's no beautiful clothes, it's just as it is. For example, there are many beautiful cars on the road. Just yesterday we were driving and I saw a Stingray, a Chevrolet Stingray. I don't know if you know what a Stingray is, but it's a sports car. It looks like a race car. It's made by Chevrolet. It's one of the famous things that Chevrolet did. And so if somebody's into cars and someone is into race cars, this car is attractive. I also saw a Porsche, which is an attractive sports car, and so many other cars I saw. And yesterday I was thinking, but if you take the body off the car, all you have is a metal frame, and it's not very attractive. It's just, you'll just have a frame with seats on it, steering wheel, transmission, and but when you put the body on the car, according to how the body is made, the car becomes attractive. Oh, look at that beautiful car, that beautiful Stingray, or that beautiful Porsche, or the beautiful whatever. So I was thinking that the body's like that. And in this example, what Prabhupada is giving is saying material energy is like that. It's got a covering. It's not actually beautiful. It's got a covering which makes it look beautiful. And unless you're Krishna conscious, you can't see through the covering to see that there's something more beautiful. And that in comparison, this is not really beautiful. But if you don't have anything to compare it to, then it looks beautiful. Just like any material object might look attractive until you see something more attractive. And when you see something more attractive, that which was attractive may not seem attractive. Or like you eat something, said, this is very delicious. And I might say, no, that's not actually how it's made. And then I make it. Then you taste it and you go, that's how it's supposed to taste. And then you realize what you thought was delicious, it actually wasn't. It's just you didn't know how it's supposed to taste. So, in the same way, we may look at material energy and think, oh, this is very beautiful, it's very enjoyable, I'm enjoying it very much. But compared to spiritual energy, no. So when you have a taste of Krishna consciousness, then you can see the naked form of material energy, you can see what it actually is. But if we want to enjoy material energy, we won't see it actually as it is. We'll see it as it isn't. Because in order to enjoy it, we have to see it as it isn't. Because if we see it as it is, we couldn't enjoy it. Sometimes I imagine, just because I have a creative mind that often thinks of how to present Krishna consciousness, I thought it would be interesting, and probably someone has done this. You have a very young, beautiful young boy and girl, and they meet one another in a beautiful scene in nature, and then music starts, and they run towards one another, and it's slow motion, and they embrace, and then the camera goes around. The camera's on a track, it's going around. They do that a lot in Bollywood movies, I think. the ones I see on the airplane, which I can't avoid. When you're flying to India, everyone's watching them. But anyway, so they're embracing, and then you start showing them getting older and older and older, and then they're like 90 years old, and they're still embracing. Obviously not as beautiful as they were when they were 21. So if we actually saw that this is the result of what I'm doing, maybe we wouldn't do it. Or the result of what I'm eating is killing me, maybe we wouldn't eat it. So that's actually how someone who's Krishna conscious sees. They see the temporary nature of the world. They see that we're getting old. They see in a way that they can't really, there's no impetus to enjoy the matter. It's just they see it as it is. They see the naked form. But how is it that they see it, and why do they see it where other people don't? And that Prabhupada is explaining here, because they want to see it. They want to be Krishna conscious. So because they want to be Krishna conscious, Krishna says, okay, I'm going to let you see the world in a way that will be an impetus for you to become Krishna conscious. I'm not going to let you see the world in a way that would be an impetus for you to stay in the world. Because if I show you how attractive the world is, if I show you or I impel you to find happiness in this world, to see things of this world as beautiful, as charming, as wonderful, attractive, then how will you get out of it? You won't. So I will allow you to see the world for what it is. I will allow you to see things as they are, and when you see that naked form of material energy, you'll have no impetus to enjoy the material world, but you only have an impetus to be Krishna conscious. And Krishna can turn that switch on, and he can turn that switch off like that. So that's the meaning of Krishna helping a devotee, or helping anybody. He will, whatever it is you want, he'll help you. So that's good news. It's also bad news. It's bad news for those who don't have a strong desire to be Krishna conscious, and it's good news for those who do. So if sometimes we feel that it's hard to be Krishna conscious, then we should reflect on this reality that we're making it harder on ourselves. Because if I don't have a sincere desire to be Krishna conscious, Krishna will reciprocate with that lack of sincerity. And how does he reciprocate? By allowing us to see the world as attractive, by giving us an impetus, an inspiration to enjoy it, or perhaps making us depressed that we couldn't enjoy it. In some way, he will give us impetus and intelligence to see things as we wish to see them. He will magnify our own consciousness. So, if you say, oh, Maya is so attractive, Krishna, Krishna, why are you making Maya so attractive? Then we have to say, Mahatma, why are you so attracted to Maya? So-and-so, why are you so attracted to Maya? We have to talk to ourselves and say, reason with ourselves, why are you so attracted to Maya? Because if I feel that strong attraction, and I'm wondering why Krishna isn't pulling me away from that, wonder no more, ladies and gentlemen. It's only Krishna reciprocating with your mentality. It's actually magnifying it and facilitating it. So if you think something is attractive in the material world, very attractive, and you're very attracted to it, Krishna is facilitating and magnifying that attraction. Because that's what you want. And you might think, but I'm a devotee, so why would Krishna do that? Because you want it. If you want him more than you want Maya, then he will reveal himself and he will help you. And if it's kind of 50-50, then we get caught in the middle of being attracted to Krishna and being attracted to Maya. But the important point to understand is that it's us who's generating what Krishna is reciprocating with. So that's good news. As I said, it's also bad news, because if we're generating something that's not Krishna conscious, Krishna will facilitate it. Sometimes devotees end up in situations that are difficult for their Krishna consciousness, surrounded by difficult circumstances, or maybe a devotee who is very attached to something ends up in a job or a situation, keeps ending up in his life where he's surrounded by those very things that has a weakness for. And often I wonder and consider, is it that because he's attracted to that, Krishna's providing it? And I think that's true, because the other devotee who's not attracted to those things, somehow it doesn't end up in situations where he's surrounded by those things. Have you noticed that yourself? Have you seen that? Like sometimes there's a devotee and he has a certain weakness. It seems he has a certain weakness, and that weakness, the facility to exploit that weakness seems to show up often in his life. But those same things don't show up for another devotee, and the other devotee doesn't have that weakness or doesn't have that attraction to the same degree that this devotee has. And so often I look at that, or particularly I don't look at it so much in other devotees, I look at it in myself and say, if certain attractions or certain situations keep showing up in my life, it must mean that I'm attracted to those things, and Krishna is providing them, both positively and negatively. Sometimes I find myself in a certain situation, Krishna giving me certain facilities, or you have the same thing. It's because I want them, both good and bad. And so sometimes I laugh when I say, Krishna, why are you putting these objects around me? Like I thought I renounced them. I thought I gave them up. And I hear Krishna saying, no, you thought you gave them up, but you still want them. So I'm letting you use them in my service. I'm giving them to you. You can use them in my service because I know you want them. So now you're surrounded by whatever it is, wealth, followers, this, that, and the next thing. Of course, sometimes you renounce all those things and Krishna gives you them. But I'm talking about a specific case where you haven't actually renounced them. You like them. You only thought you renounced them. And Krishna's saying, here, now I know you like these things. Okay, I'll let you use them in Krishna's service. So if you ever wonder, why is it that I particularly am in certain situations, or there's certain facilities provided, you might reflect on, well, maybe it's that I'm still attached to them. Of course, it may be that Krishna's just giving them to you to use. It's not necessarily that because you're attached to something, but if something shows up that maybe is maybe something that you have thought you renounced, but actually you realize you have some attachment for it, you can reflect, oh, Krishna is sending me these things because I like them. He's letting me use them in his service, but I'm not renounced from them, so I find myself in situations where I have lots of comforts, or I have lots of money, or I have lots of this or lots of that. And said, maybe that's because I want those things, and Krishna's sending them. Of course, sometimes Krishna sends them when you don't want them, because he knew that 20 years ago you wanted them, but now you don't, and so it's like, okay, here, I'll give them to you now, because now you're renounced. So that's there also. I'll leave that up to you to decide for yourself. But I'm only reflecting on how sometimes I see devotees end up in certain situations that other devotees don't end up in. And I consider that there's some desire there, and Krishna's fulfilling that. It could even be getting in arguments, that Krishna sends people to them to argue with. And there's a very peaceful devotee, and Krishna never sends anybody to him to argue with. He only sends to that peaceful devotee other peaceful devotees. And this devotee who likes to argue and be critical, Krishna seems to send devotees who like to argue and be critical. It's something worth reflecting on, because this is a general principle, and I don't know your situation, but it's something to reflect on, that how Krishna may provide something to you because it's a desire, and it may not even be helpful for your bhakti, but it's something you want. And if you want it deeply enough, Krishna will say, okay, here it is. Just like sometimes devotees, they become bewildered when someone leaves Krishna consciousness and they see that there was a bait and the person took the bait. And they were thinking, but if that person's a devotee, why would that bait be there for them? And the answer is because they wanted it. Because, okay, they were a devotee, but they wanted something else, and they wanted it strongly. And Krishna baited them, said, this is what you want, I'll give it to you. And it also becomes a test. So, Krishna Karshani says, let's say we have desires that are very strong, and those desires can make us take another birth. Should we pray to Krishna to vanquish those desires, or to help us fulfill those desires? What a question. Fill those desires in a Krishna conscious way. Well, it would depend what those desires are, but let's make the assumption you can fulfill them in a Krishna conscious way. And let's make the assumption that you've tried to give them up and you can't. Then yeah, that's what you do. Okay, I have desire. Maybe I feel my life would be better without that desire, but I've tried to renounce it, and it seems part of my nature at this point, or part of my conditioning at this point in my Krishna consciousness. So then, naturally, the way through this is to engage that desire. You know, in the Gita, Prabhupada says, even on the Royal Road, there are accidents. Royal Road is the British freeway. It's called the Royal Road. The King's Road. El Camino, in California, it's El Camino Real, the King's Road. So, you know, on the perfect highway, even there can be accidents. So, if we're engaging our nature in Krishna's service, there's a caveat. You can't engage it with the mentality of an enjoyer. You always have to engage it with the mentality of servant. If you engage it with the mentality of enjoyer, that is not going to work. Okay, so then you might say, but if I like to do something, how can I not have the mentality of the enjoyer? You can like to do something, but you can do it for Krishna, for his pleasure. Just like, let's say, you like to sell. You just love, some people love to sell. They're just salesmen. So you can sell things for Krishna. You can sell books. You can sell people on Krishna. You can convince people Krishna's God. You can sell them on the Sunday feast. You can sell them to come to your Rath Yatra festival. You can. So it's not a problem that you like to sell, and you realize that I like to sell. I've just got to sell something, whatever it is. I've got to be selling for Krishna. Okay, and you like to sell. But then I would ask you, what is motivating you to sell? And you say, well, I like to sell, but my motivation is to do this to serve Krishna. Oh, good. So that's your motivation. So it's okay that you like to sell, as long as your motivation is to do this for Krishna. Now, you're not going to go out and sell encyclopedias, or you're not going to go sell pornographic literature. So, as long as you're doing it in Krishna consciousness, and you're doing it for Krishna's pleasure, then doing what you like to do, or doing what you're attached to, if you can't give it up in any other way, you give it up by engaging it. Just like we get married, but we warn couples that your wife is not yours, your husband is not yours. They do not exist for your enjoyment, you exist for their enjoyment, which probably is not what every honeymoon couple wants to hear, is it? Prabhu Mataji, before you go on your honeymoon, I just want you to remember that your husband is not an object of your enjoyment, and your wife is not an object of your enjoyment. They are objects of your service. It kind of rained on the parade of your honeymoon, didn't it? But that's what it means. So, yeah, it's first. Yeah, as long as you can gauge everything for service. Okay, I like to do this. I think about doing it. I can't stop thinking about doing it. It's my nature. I know if I don't do it, I'll do it anyway. You know that. If I don't do it, I'll do it anyway, type thing. If you tell me don't paint, I'll paint anyway. If you tell me don't write, I'll write anyway. If you tell me don't sing, I'll sing anyway. If you tell me don't sell, I'll sell anyway. If you tell me don't teach, I'll teach anyway. It's your nature. So yeah, liking to do something is not a problem. It's why. It's why you're doing it. Because by nature, we all are going to like certain things. And even by nature, we may like one ashram over another. So the fact that I like one ashram over another, it's not an impediment unless I have the wrong mentality when I enter that ashram. Even those who took sannyas, especially early in the movement, maybe they had an attraction for sannyas, but they also had attraction for the side benefits of sannyas, which was the honor, the service, and so forth. So you like sannyas, that's good. And you like austerity, that's good. That's a good combination. You like sannyas, but you don't like austerity, that's not a good combination. So you take for the wrong reason. So even taking sannyas can be done in the wrong way, and even getting married can be done in the right way. So that's the idea. Let's read a little more. He will give you ways and means how you can become a first-class atheist. And if you want to become a first-class devotee, Krishna will give you intelligence how you can become a first-class devotee. Therefore, he says, Ye yata mam prapajante. If you think Krishna here is a statue, he's an idol, and these foolish people are chanting Hare Krishna with an idol, so Krishna will remain to such a person an idol forever. And one who knows, these people are chanting Hare Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for him, Krishna will reveal. Yes, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the difference. So you can apply this to japa. So we're chanting japa, and we think, this japa is a chore, I just have to get it done. So then japa remains a chore. Japa remains to you some just ordinary sound. You're not penetrating. You're not realizing this is Krishna. You're not feeling his presence. You're not tasting anything. So if we approach the holy name as something material or a process or a chore, then it remains a process. It remains a chore. It remains material. And we all have experience of that. We're chanting, but we don't want to be chanting, and therefore we're not realizing the spiritual nature of the holy name. Chintamani, the Chintamani Nama, Chintamani Krishnas. Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, we're not experiencing the Rasa Vigraha, the juice of Krishna in the form of the name. The Chintamani, the wish-fulfilling nature of the name, that Krishna is, or Krishna revealing himself through the name, we don't realize that. It becomes a material sound. If the holy name to you becomes a material sound, then how long can you chant it? At some point you'll give it up. Like, Prabhupada used to say, try chanting Coca-Cola, 16 rounds of Coca-Cola. You can't. It'll be hackneyed. Prabhupada used the word hackneyed, which means boring, troublesome, difficult. So, yes, chanting Hare Krishna will, to us, become like chanting Coca-Cola, because if it's approached materially or seen materially, it'll be experienced materially. And if it's experienced materially, the sign is it becomes hackneyed, boring, difficult, burdensome, tasteless, just as chanting Coca-Cola would be. Because the transcendental nature of the holy name is not being revealed or experienced, only the external. So then it sounds like I'm chanting Hare Krishna, but internally, not really chanting Hare Krishna. Internally, I'm actually chanting Coca-Cola, or I could be chanting anything. I'm not penetrating the transcendental nature of the holy name. But when I want to penetrate the transcendental nature of the holy name, then Krishna, he's very kind, he'll reveal that. You know, we've seen that in our japa workshops. People come and they're saying, my chanting hasn't been good, but they get into it, they go very deep into it. And sometimes they're actually surprised on what Krishna reveals in his name, like what's actually there. It opens up in ways they never imagined because they're penetrating the transcendental nature of the holy name. So, that's the idea. So, be careful how you chant because Krishna is reciprocating with our desire to realize his transcendental nature or lack of such desire. Okay, in the Bhagavad Gita you'll find Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sanivishto. That's 15:15. Krishna says that, quote, I am living in everyone's heart. Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sanivishto. Mata Smritir Gyanam Apohanam Cha. And through me one is forgetting and one is remembering. So why Krishna is doing like that? He is helping somebody to forget and he is helping somebody to remember. Why? The same answer. Ye yata mam prapadyante. If you want to forget Krishna or God, he will give you intelligence in such a way that you will forget forever. Wow. So, let's take this the other way. If you want to remember Krishna, he will give you intelligence that you will remember him forever. So as I said in the beginning of the class, the point of this discussion is that if you want to be Krishna conscious, don't worry. Krishna will provide everything you need for it. And if you don't want to be Krishna conscious, worry, because Krishna will provide everything you need not to be Krishna conscious. So here's another, I want to read, this is from a lecture in 1968, so we're still early in the movement, and this is very sweet. Vishnujanan Swami, well, he wasn't a Swami then, he asked Prabhupada, how do we render perfect service to Krishna? Prabhupada says, by your anxiety. Prabhupada's laughing. Or the devotees are laughing. If you are anxious to serve Krishna, that is the real asset. By anxiety, Prabhupada means anxious to serve, not stressed anxiety. Krishna is unlimited. What service we can offer to him? And he has got unlimited servants also. What service he requires from you and me? He's perfect in himself. He doesn't require any service. But if you are anxious to serve him, then he does not refuse. Well, isn't that sweet? Krishna doesn't require any service, but if you're anxious to serve him, he does not refuse. No. I don't need anything. Can I give you something? Oh, well, if you really want to give it to me, okay, I'll accept it, even though I don't need it. So, the question was, how do we become perfect in service? And Prabhupada saying, you have to be anxious to serve Krishna, so anxious to serve Krishna that although he doesn't need your service, he'll accept it. Because if you're not anxious, he's not anxious to accept it. That is, let me go back. But if you are anxious to serve him, then he does not refuse. That is his mercy. That is his magnanimity. So the more you increase your anxiety to serve Krishna, the more it becomes perfect. He's unlimited. Your anxiety, you become unlimited. So there is competition. Okay, that's pretty interesting. Okay. So Krishna is complete, doesn't need your service. But if you're in anxiety to serve him, he'll accept it. And how much anxiety? Well, he's unlimited. So Prabhupada said, your anxiety should be unlimited. Which we could rephrase and say, well, don't have anxiety for anything other than serving Krishna. And then Krishna he'll accept that service. Your anxiety, you become unlimited, so there is competition. The more you serve Krishna, the more he accepts you, and the more he gives you intelligence. You see? So the spiritual world is unlimited. There is no end of service, and there is no end of accepting the service. So eagerness, tatra lolyam eka mulyam. Lolyam means eagerness. Mulyam means root. So this verse means this is the root of bhakti, your eagerness. I'm not manufacturing the answer, but I'm giving you evidence from Rupa Goswami, our Acharya. He says, Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati kriyatam yadi kutopi labhyate. My dear gentlemen, my dear boys and girls, if you can purchase, this is translation, Prabhupada's paraphrase translation, if you can purchase your sense of loving Krishna, if you can purchase love of Krishna, if you can purchase eagerness, how can I love Krishna more and more? This much, this anxiety, if you can purchase this, mati means intelligence. It is very nice intelligence, how I shall serve Krishna, how I can find that eagerness, that intelligence. How can I love Krishna more and more? This much, this anxiety, if you can purchase this mati, means intelligence. Mati means intelligence. It is very nice intelligence. How I shall serve Krishna. Krishna bhakti rasa bhavita mati. Mati means intelligence or status of mind. That status of mind is I'll serve Krishna. If you can purchase this status of mind anywhere, please immediately purchase. The next question will be, all right, I shall purchase. What is the price? Do you know? Yes, I know what is the price. What is the price? Lolyam, simply your eagerness, that's all. Lolyam ekamulam, that I can have. No. Can I have this eagerness? So Prabhupada saying, the price to be Krishna conscious is your eagerness to serve Krishna. Okay, what's the price? Your eagerness. How much I must pay? Your eagerness. Okay, and I can have it? And the Prabhupada says, no. Janma koti bis shuti sukriti vir labhyate. This eagerness, how to love Krishna, it's not available even after many, many births. Now we're in trouble, right? So if you have what the verse says is you're not going to get it just by taking birth. You're not going to get it by pious activity. You're not going to get it by yoga. You're not going to get it by jhana. So we need it. We need the anxiety to serve Krishna, but even after many births, we won't get it. So how do we get it? It's not available after many births. So if you have a pinch of that anxiety, how I can serve Krishna, you must know you're the most fortunate man. So what Prabhupada's saying here is, somehow, if you have a pinch of anxiety, some anxiety to serve Krishna, some anxiety other than I want to be happy in the material world, I want to enjoy my senses, some anxiety, a little bit, that's your qualification. And how do you get that anxiety? That you have to ask yourself how to get it, because that's the price for being Krishna conscious. So let's look at the logic here. Prabhupada's quoting Rupa Goswami. The price to be Krishna conscious is anxiety or eagerness, lolyam. And then previous to that, Prabhupada's saying Krishna is reciprocating with our mentality. So then Prabhupada's making this conclusion that if you have lolyam, you have eagerness, then you'll get guidance and intelligence. Then everything's good. It's like I think I was saying last week, it's like this internal guidance system, GPS, say global positioning system, we can say. IGS, internal guidance system. And that's Paramatma, super consciousness, super soul. Internal positioning, internal guidance positioning system. IGPS. Yeah, that's it. IGPS. So the IGPS is being programmed by us all the time. So Prabhupada's saying, this is how you want to program it. You want to program it with your eagerness to be Krishna conscious. And then everything's good. And Krishna just guides you. Krishna guides you. As I was saying before, sometimes things show up in our life which maybe aren't so great for our Krishna consciousness. Then we may, we need to question, well, is it that my desire is weak? Is that Krishna is sending me either attractions or obstacles? Because perhaps I don't want to be that Krishna conscious, and, excuse me, he's just facilitating that. Is that possible? No, I can't say for you. I would like you to say for yourself. But sometimes when we see obstacles placed in our way, or we're in situations which are making it difficult for us to be Krishna conscious, at least we should ask ourselves, are these obstacles self-created? Is it that I don't want to be Krishna conscious and Krishna's putting obstacles in the way so I can use those as excuses for not being Krishna conscious? Is that what's actually happening? Or sometimes the obstacles come in the form of sense gratification. Is Krishna providing me with sense gratification that becomes an obstacle to my Krishna consciousness because I really don't want to be Krishna conscious? I really want these things? And the answer is yes, that's why. And we just have to understand why. Now, sometimes you could say, well, maybe an obstacle is there because that obstacle is helpful for me in Krishna consciousness. And I would say, yes, that could be. But then you could also say, but why does Krishna have to put an obstacle? Because I'm weak and I need it. If I were stronger, I wouldn't need that obstacle. So the obstacle can be a sign of Krishna's mercy and Krishna helping us, but it's also there because I'm weak, because I need it. So in this way you can reflect. If either good or bad things come into your life, either of which are obstacles to your bhakti, is it because I have something in my heart that's like a magnet attracting these things? And because there's not that anxiety to be Krishna conscious. And I would say, if you increase your anxiety to be Krishna conscious, increase your eagerness, you will see more things falling into place to help you become Krishna conscious. If you increase your eagerness to serve, you'll see more things falling into place in terms of service. If you see your eagerness to share Krishna consciousness, you will see facilities coming to help you share. So facilities or lack of facilities, or facilities for being Krishna conscious or facilities for not being Krishna conscious, are coming in response to us, to our mood. And some of those facilities come externally, and some of those facilities come internally. And so that's what we're meant to learn from this, and that's why what Prabhupada's saying here is so important for us. That Prabhupada's saying something which I find quite significant. I don't know if you picked up on it. He's saying not a lot of eagerness, just a pinch of it. Like, you don't need a lot. But at the same time, even to have a pinch of eagerness to serve Krishna, it is a lot, because that means you have to reduce your eagerness to enjoy separately from Krishna, to have a pinch of eagerness to serve Krishna. But that pinch is so powerful that pinch can take you back to Godhead, just that pinch of eagerness. But this verse that Prabhupada's quoting is saying, yeah, but that eagerness, it's not going to come from millions of years of gyan and karma and yoga. Then you might say, but am I dependent on what I do for that eagerness? In a sense. But that dependence on what you do depends on what you do, if you know what I mean. Yeah, if you don't hear regularly, that eagerness isn't going to develop. If you don't associate with advanced devotees, the eagerness is not going to develop. If you don't chant without offense, the eagerness is not going to develop. So yes, the eagerness is in a sense within your control, and in a sense it's not within your control. Because if it were in our control, then just now, I'm going to manifest eagerness. Can I just manifest eagerness to be Krishna conscious? Just like that. You can manifest it through doing the things which you can make a choice to do, which will manifest it. So if your rounds aren't good, if you're not regularly hearing and chanting, if you're not getting regular association, if you're not dealing with devotees properly, etc., eagerness will not develop, because you can't just manifest it without the proper action. With the proper action, then you become purified. In fact, there's a process called Raganuga Bhakti, and Raganuga Bhakti, this verse, it can be said, which we're quoting this verse, eagerness, is actually referring to Raganuga Bhakti, and Raganuga Bhakti refers to a devotee when he becomes eager to serve Krishna in a particular rasa, following in the footsteps of a particular devotee. So he's attracted to a specific devotee, and he wants to imbibe the mood and the feelings of that devotee. And it is said that if you want to achieve that stage of Raganuga Bhakti, then you have to hear. You hear from devotees who are practicing or who are Rasik Vaishnavas, who have that kind of taste or relationship already. And more specifically, if you have an attraction for a particular rasa, you hear more about that rasa. So it's the process of hearing and associating with advanced devotees that awakens the eagerness to serve Krishna in a particular way. So if we don't hear sufficiently, where's the eagerness going to come from? If we chant offensive rounds, where is the eagerness going to come from? If we don't know how to associate properly with devotees, we need mercy from devotees to advance. So yes and no. You can't manifest the eagerness just because you decide, but you can manifest it in terms of following processes which will awaken your eagerness. So it's not that it's not dependent on you. It is, but it's dependent on you making the choice to engage properly in Krishna consciousness. And then that eagerness will develop. So don't think that eagerness is easy. Prabhupada's saying it's not. But at the same time, it's not difficult if you follow the process. That's the idea. So really our aspiration is to get a drop of eagerness to serve Krishna. And we can say that one drop of eagerness will overflood all the eagerness to serve and enjoy Maya. It will flood it out. It will destroy it. Just as a flood can destroy buildings, even vegetation, so many things. So that one drop of eagerness it's powerful, and it's nice to meditate on this phrase. Just a drop. What did Prabhupada say? Pinch. A pinch. That's even less than a drop. If you have a pinch of eagerness. So our goal, our meditation from this class, at least one of them, is pinch of eagerness. We should have a pinch of eagerness. Right? And you will see that as your eagerness to be Krishna conscious increases, things will change in your life, internally and externally. If things are not going well and you're meditating on why, Krishna, why are you doing this to me? That's not such a good meditation. The meditation is no matter what, Krishna, I want to serve you. Then Krishna says, you got it. Now you understand. Otherwise, we think, why me? Things are so bad. I can't be Krishna conscious in this situation. Then you give in. And how is Krishna going to reciprocate with you giving in? Not much. But no matter what happens, if you think, Krishna, I just want to have a pinch of eagerness, I just want to serve you purely, things will move, things will shift. We want to shift away from being self-absorbed. Oh, my situation is not good, my situation is bad, people don't like me, Krishna's not helping me, then it reinforces this, I'm this pathetic individual in this pathetic situation. I'm so unfortunate. No, in any situation, we just want to think, how can I get a pinch of anxiety to serve Krishna? Otherwise, Krishna consciousness is not about being self-absorbed and I don't like this, therefore I can't serve. And it's not about that. It's about, like, whatever happens, my service and anxiety to serve continues no matter what. In the 1980s, there were some turbulent periods of time in our movement, and for many of us, it was very difficult to continue enthusiastically. But we understood that that's all you can do, no matter what's going on, is be enthusiastic and to serve Krishna. So, some of our senior devotees who were in the positions of gurus, they left. It was actually, I don't know how to describe it other than the images of the Twin Towers falling. That's kind of what it was like for ISKCON, just a collapse. And so it was quite difficult to work through that. But we understood that we can't allow these things to deter us. Oh, I'm not happy, I don't feel good, the leaders aren't good, therefore I'm going to go home and cry and scream. Fortunately, in those days, there was no internet. I could have cried and screamed on the internet and told the world how bad these people are. And then convinced myself to leave Krishna consciousness, because Krishna consciousness has gurus who weren't pure. So I'll just leave and give up. And some people did that, but obviously that's foolish. So always maintain that you want to develop this pinch of anxiety. This pinch, what did Prabhupada say? A pinch of anxiety, yeah. Pinch of anxiety to serve Krishna. You want to maintain that always. No matter what happens, no matter how bad you feel, no matter how much you think the world is against you, devotees don't like me, I can't get along with this one, I can't get along with that one, Krishna never gives me the service I want, this devotee's not nice to me. What else? What else happens to you? I lost my job. I don't have enough of this, I don't have enough of that. Through all of that, just maintain your anxiety to serve Krishna, and you will see somehow or other he will facilitate that, and somehow or other he will maintain you so you can cultivate that. That is important. Okay, we have a few minutes. Does any other questions? I actually have to leave at 7:30 because I have to take my wife. She's taking She's taking a workshop on couples therapy. And no, there's nothing wrong with us. No, she's taking it to help, because she's a counselor, to help couples. And so, no, we're fine. Don't worry. Everything's great. And we have to leave in 15 minutes. So, actually, I have to leave in 18 minutes. If you like, if there's no questions, I'll read one more thing Prabhupada said. Anyone who is engaged with love and affection in my service without any hypocrisy, then Krishna can understand everything. He is within me, within you. Then he will give you intelligence. Quote, my dear boy, you do like this. And by doing that, what he will achieve? Yena mam upayanti te. He will come back to me. And what profit he will get by going there? Aha, yadgatpa nanivartante tadhama paramam mama. Mamhi parta vyapasvita ye pisu papadyonaya. Tukalayam shashvatam. There are so many verses. Please read the Bhagavad Gita. You'll get perfect knowledge. The Prabhupada saying, serve without any hypocrisy, Krishna within you, he'll give you intelligence. What kind of intelligence? To go back to Godhead. Prabhupada's quoting these shlokas. Once you go, I'll give you intelligence to come to me. Once coming to me in my spiritual abode, you never come back. to this miserable material world. Doesn't matter, yepi su papayon, doesn't matter if you have a sinful birth, whatever. So this is this is the simple process. You serve with love and devotion without hypocrisy. That means just to serve Krishna. Then Krishna within you, he'll do everything. So, summation of today's class is, and every class we're going to give on this topic, the basic summation is, think of your heart as kind of like, our consciousness is a little bit like software. And then our desire Krishna is the programmer. Our heart is like software. And we are telling Krishna, can you write this program for me? By our desire, we're asking him to write this program. Like companies will hire software engineers and say, I need a program that does this. So our desire is communicated to the supreme software engineer, superconsciousness. And superconsciousness writes the program. So then we have a certain mentality, because we need a certain mentality to achieve a specific result. And so Krishna then provides the mentality we need to produce the specific result. So either it's Krishna conscious or not Krishna conscious. But if we show Krishna our eagerness, then he changes the software program from material to spiritual. But then you get all this intelligence and all this inspiration, and everything just works really well. And otherwise, if we're not Krishna conscious, then he'll write this other program, and then it doesn't work well. Sureshwar says, easy to imitate anxiety, but when we are really in anxiety, then we want Krishna to free us from anxiety. Well, the Prabhupada's using anxiety in the sense of eagerness. Eager to serve Krishna, not in the sense of stress. Although there may be anxiety in Krishna's service, but Prabhupada said that anxiety is good. My whole point was don't be in anxiety over your sense gratification. Don't be in anxiety over your material situation. Be in anxiety over Krishna's service, and then let Krishna take care of your material situation. But if you're in anxiety over your material situation, too much anxiety and too much focus, then how will you be in anxiety over Krishna's situation? How will you be in anxiety over the fact that the world's going to hell very quickly, that we need to do something about it? So that anxiety should be there. And if you have that anxiety, Krishna will take care of other things. He promises that. So have faith in that. And that's part of what we're discussing here, is that if we lack faith in Krishna taking care of us, then Krishna will say, you lack that faith, okay. So you don't have faith, then I won't take care of you. You don't have that faith. You think you have to do it all yourself? Okay, then do it all yourself. Then you'll be in anxiety. But if you want to serve me, you give yourself to me, then, okay, I'll take care of you. Because you don't have enough time to take care of yourself, I'll do it. And you want to serve me? But you might say, but I'm doing that. Then I would say, but do you have faith that Krishna will do it? So you require that faith also. Rasaprada says, if you surrender with honesty attitude, I don't believe that Krishna will leave you alone. But how can I stop the environment not to influence me? I'm not sure the question. What do you mean by I don't believe that Krishna will leave you alone? How can I stop the environment from influencing me? If I can answer that question, if you don't want the environment to influence you, then you have to be very connected to your desire. Like I would say, sometimes we disconnect from our desire to be Krishna conscious. Like we forget in the moment being surrounded by something other than Krishna, we forget. Have you ever forgotten that you're in an environment and temporarily you actually forget you're a devotee? And then you say, I can't do that, I'm a devotee. Yeah, something like that. Like we in some way forget our bhakti. Obviously not entirely. I don't think any of us entirely forget we're devotees. But when Maya is very strong, in some ways we actually get spiritual amnesia. We forget I'm a devotee. Why did I just do that? I'm a devotee. Why was I thinking like that? I'm a devotee. So if we are connected with our identity, I am servant of Krishna, then nothing external can budge you. But what's happening now is it's causing us to forget that. Pray to Krishna to free us from material anxiety that we could be anxiety for Krishna. Because all this material anxiety is taking away anxiety to be Krishna conscious. So I'm anxiety about myself. I don't feel right. I need to feel happy. I'm not happy. People don't like me. I need to get more likes on my Facebook page. Oh no, I can't go to sleep tonight with only 51 likes. I have to have 108. Oh, I'm so miserable. I'm so unhappy. I went to the temple. So-and-so Prabhu, he didn't smile at me. I'm never going back again. All this stuff, take that back to high school. Leave it in your high school locker. It doesn't belong in Krishna consciousness. That's what you do in high school. Now you've come to Krishna consciousness. Now your anxiety is simply, how can I serve Krishna? How can I help other people? Not this anxiety of how I'm going to eat, how I'm going to sleep, how I'm going to get sense gratification, how am I going to become popular in ISKCON, how I'm going to feel good about this and feel good about that. That's not why we're here. All that anxiety, as Krishna Karshani rightly says, takes away from our anxiety to serve Krishna. Absolutely 100% correct. And that on that happy point, or unhappy point, depending on how you approach it, we will end, but hopefully you'll approach it in the right way. So, I always thought, even as a young devotee, I always thought, there is going to be anxiety no matter what, and what a waste of anxiety to be anxious about my sense gratification. There couldn't be a greater waste in the three worlds than to waste my mental energy and physical energy on that, when I could have been using that to help somebody become Krishna conscious, or in some way serve my spiritual master. So that's what's getting in the way, our personal anxiety. One time Prabhupada said, you should go and preach and not be in anxiety about how you live. So that's the mood. Okay, let me save the others. I don't worry about how I'll save, how I will live, how I'll eat, how I will sleep. Somehow, let me save these people. And then what happens? Krishna gives you more eating, sleeping than you need. He provides it because you are only working wholly and solely for Him. You're not working for your sense gratification. It's a very, very important point. And if you do that, you will see the results, guaranteed. What I meant was that when we surrender to Krishna with faith and honesty, He will never leave us alone. Then, but how I prevent the environment to influence me not to focus on my bhakti? I think I answered that. See more. Well, obviously the other answer to that, first answer we gave, be connected to your identity as a servant. And the other answer is by having strong sadhana. Sadhana is your inoculation, your injection against Maya. But just so we know, when we're surrounded by a situation which is, we can say, bewildering us, we actually forget we're devotees temporarily. We go into a temporary state of amnesia, and just like I see something, or I'm out and there's some festival and there's some band playing and they're so good. I'm just, oh my God, and I'm just enjoying it. And the guy's singing about sex or something, and I'm just completely like, wait a minute, what am I doing? This has nothing to do with Krishna. So for a moment, I just forgot that I was a devotee. Or I see something that's really delicious, that's not offered, and I imagine eating it. Wait a minute, I forgot I was a devotee. Or I see some beautiful man or beautiful woman and I'm attracted, and for a moment I lose my mind. Wait a minute, I forgot I was a devotee. So the answer to your question is, remember you're a devotee, and you'll do that by good sadhana. And tomorrow, I think I have to leave about 7 o'clock to go back to Alachua. So, I think we have to start class at half hour earlier at 6 a.m. Anyway, I'll put out a notice. I have to talk to my wife to see what time we're going to leave, and then it's a good topic. It's very simple, and it's just Krishna's the programmer, and your heart is the software, and you are the client telling Krishna, this is how I want the programming done, and all that Krishna is doing is programming it according to our direction. And so if we understand that, that's very powerful, because then we won't blame things on anybody else or other circumstances. Hare Krishna. Okay, we'll end. We'll see you tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Premanandi.